Ready your stamina and equip your weapons, because today we're making blood moon dice. Ooh, yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Garage Quest shop. Today we're making blood moon dice.
The blood moon rises once again.
And that's all I can legally show you. So I'm just going to start by mixing up some resin. I use Amazing Illumilite Clear Cast as always, equal parts A and B. Now you are going to want to mix up about enough for half of a set. I'm mixing up for a whole set because I'm making 2 sets. And now I'm going to take this dark purple color, and I know this looks like a lot of color, but I really want a deep penetrating color. So as you can see, this is a very rich purple, and that's how I like it. So I'm just laying out all of my molds here for 2 sets. And I'm going to start with my D2 because they're horizontal molds, so they work a little differently. And I'm just going to fill them up about halfway with this purple. And then I'm going to break some tongue depressors or popsicle sticks and set them underneath each D2 on one side so that they tilt downwards a little bit, and that'll help keep the purple pooling at the bottom as opposed to spreading across each face. Now I'm just going to grab each of my sprue molds, and I'm going to fill this about 1/3 of the way. Now, normally when I'm working with multiple colors, I would give this kind of a swoosh or a swirl so that there's a better blending effect. But we really are looking for a hard line here. So we're going to just fill these up 1/3 of the way and set them right back down. So here I am filling up all of the rest of my sprue molds. It's quite a bit of work, and you might see me cleaning them up a little bit off screen here. But there you go. So now we're going to take a red color and just put a few drops into a tiny cup like this and pick it up with a toothpick and start to push and pull and swirl around inside of this purple resin. It's really a simple technique, and then you just add a little bit of extra on top here, only on the D2, and then you can see I sort of realized I put too much in there and had to scoop it away, so don't do that. So now I'm just going to, again, put a little bit of red color on the toothpick, stick it into the resin, and just push down, pull up, push left, push right, give it a little swirl. We're not trying to blend it in fully, but we are trying to make sure that there's a little bit of a swirl effect. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind as you do this is it's really optimal if you don't get any of the red ink anywhere but inside of the resin. If you get it somewhere else on the edges inside of your mold, there's a possibility that ink will keep the resin from drying. It's not a big deal. You're probably fine, but just be deliberate when you do this. Okay, so it looks like I did some final last touches there. And now I'm ready to tape up every single mold. And I'm doing that a little bit off screen, so it's hard to see, but I'm just wrapping a piece of tape around the mold like I normally do. And then I stack all of these molds onto my pressure pot mold or shelf, and I'm going to throw that in the pressure pot for 24 hours. All right, so we're back, and I'm just mixing up another batch of resin. Now this time I'm going to split this resin in 2, but I'm going to make it such that there's more in one cup than the other. Now in the cup that has more substantial amount of resin, I'm going to put red ink inside, red alcohol ink. And then I'm going to go ahead and put yellow into the smaller amount. And I'm going to grab a syringe and just fill this syringe up with that beautiful yellow color, and then I will set it aside to use after we've poured our red resin. Okay, so now I've got my red resin and I'm pouring it into my D2s. You'll see that I come back to the D2s later because I wasn't fully satisfied with the color, and sometimes I like to add a little extra color to the D2s since they're so thin. They don't carry color quite as well. And this is where I realized that I didn't take the tape off of any of the molds. So I did that, and now I'm ready to go ahead and open these molds up and pour the red resin in. So I'm just carefully, slowly, through a thin line, pouring this red resin into each mold, pulling it out of the view of the camera for some reason, and wiping it off with a rag. And then I'll move on to the next ones. There's no special technique here. I'm just filling it all the way up and cleaning off any leakage through the sides, so I can move on to the yellow. And here's where I added that little extra color for the D2. So now I'm picking up my yellow, and I'm just going to submerge it right into the very top of the D2 and inject a circular glob of this beautiful yellow. I really wish there was a way to make it so it would retain that perfect circular shape. It won't. It'll blend a little more than that, but it still has a very beautiful effect, and I think it'll be great. So now I'm just going to stick this syringe into each of my molds, like feeding little baby birds full of poisonous, hazardous toxins. So I just go ahead and do this with every single mold. And then it turns out I had a little extra resin, and I bought these really great geode crystal shaped molds, and I just pour whatever excess resin I have into those. And they work out great for terrain, and I can't wait to use these when I'm allowed to see other human beings in person again. Okay, so now you can see that on my nifty pressure pot shelving unit thing I have built here, I set all the pieces of tape that I pulled off of the molds earlier, and I'm just putting them back around each mold and then putting each set of molds onto this shelving unit. And it looks like I'm almost done here. Here comes the last one. Ooh, isn't it beautiful? I stick it in, and now this goes into the pressure pot for another 24 hours. Let's look. And reveal. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on making Blood Moon Hyrulian dice. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.